Hey guys, what's going on? So in this video, we're going to go ahead and go through a DIY kind of doing the oil filter housing gasket. This is more of a highlight video. I don't really have a camera stand, and I was working by myself. So it's going to be more of a high level video for you guys. For someone that hasn't done it, excuse me, it should be very helpful. Kind of give you, a good overview of what needs to happen. Couple things. Oil filter housing gasket is a big thing you need to take care of. What happens is it leaks from the front and on the back. But when it leaks over the front, it can get on your belt, causing your belt to slip. And if all the stars line up, the oil will get on the belt will slip, and then it'll get caught in your crank seal. And that's just a disaster. So best to handle this when you see it leaking, go ahead and tackle it. Get you some OEM parts. The bolts on these are aluminum, so while I didn't change them in my video, I'm going to go ahead and recommend you change those as well. Go ahead and get some fresh aluminum bolts for that. Also, you need some E-sockets. I talk about that in the video as well, but do not try to use an 8mm, any of that stuff, guys. My last 535, I had to literally cut it. It took me 4 hours to get the bottom bolt that's going up into the housing off the car because it was rounded off from someone trying to fix it previously. So I hope this video is helpful to you guys. Let me know if there's any questions you have, something I can help you with, and enjoy the video. So today I am tackling the infamous oil filter housing gasket. And unfortunately it's been done already, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. I want to show you the things that I've gotten. So from ECS Tuning, I ordered the oil filter cap removal tool. This is for BMW and Minis. I think this is a good tool to have around, 15, 16 bucks. It is a genuine BMW part, so there's the part number for you guys that need it. I also ordered 2 oil filters. So my car's about 3,000 miles away from needing oil change, and I have, I'm just worried about putting the old oil filter back in the housing after I'm using it, and I'm also gonna open up the oil filter housing, let some of the oil drain before I attempt to take it off and make a huge mess. So I got 2 oil filters. This is the part number for you. From BMW as well. And then the most important things are, here's the oil cooler gasket and the oil filter housing gasket. I'm not sure what you've heard or what you believe, but guys, it is important that you get the OEM branded gaskets. So I'm not going to go into the detail of what all the differences are, what all the differences can be, but I mean, you can really feel the difference with your hands and how rigid the gaskets are. Also, this car has already had this service done from the previous owner at some shop in Florida where the car was. So we are going to tackle this, make sure it doesn't need to happen again. Obviously, we have some shop towels, some brake clean for the cleanup, and I brought some gloves and a little bit of Permatex. Some people say that you don't really need any of this, and I kind of agree with them that you don't need it, but these cars have developed these issues with oil filter housing leaking, and I really kind of want to give myself some extra insurance for leaving it as long as possible before I have to change it again. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some Permatex lightly around the perimeter of the gasket in hopes that will help seal even more for a longer period of time. So all that being said, you are going to need a set of E-sockets. If you do not have E-sockets, go to the store and buy E-sockets. These are not the type of bolts you want to strip. So there's 3 bolts on here. There's one underneath the manifold, so we're going to have to remove the intake manifold. Not totally remove it, just take it off a little bit. There's a bolt there. There's also another bolt on the underside right here in the front. So you see that bolt down there, it is right there. And then there's another bolt on top as well that's pretty easy to get to. The one that's hard to get to is underneath here, underneath the manifold. So we will go, as we tackle that, I'll show you guys kind of how to do the job. All right, guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the BMW tool here and go ahead and remove the oil filter cap here. Fits on perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and remove that first, then I'm going to go ahead and take the engine cover off, and I'll show you guys what's coming up after that. Engine cover off, 2 T30 bolts. I showed you how to take off the oil filter cap on there. As you can see, there's still some left, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some shop towels and soak that up. Really, guys, I'm just trying to keep all the mess out from off from the engine. Last time I did this, made a big mess. And this engine, this whole car is actually really clean. I want to try to keep it that way. So I'm going to try to soak all that oil up in there without getting anything in the engine. And then I'm going to go ahead and take off the oil cooler lines. And I'm going to start getting on the intake manifold removal. All right, so I'll come back when I'm done with that. Guys, I want to show you where I'm at now. So there's a little bolt underneath here, a little kind of tough to get to. It's an Allen head bolt, looks like this, that attaches your oil cooler lines to your oil filter housing. That was needed to be removed just because we need to get access. We need to get a socket on that bolt right there. This is one bolt here, and then like I told you, the other one's under there. We disconnected the charge pipe. We took off the engine cover. Now the 5 Series has a little bit more room towards the back of the motor than the 3 and 1 Series do. So I'm not gonna have to remove my whole cowl like some people may have to, but I'm gonna go ahead. Like I said, I got those off. That top bolt is loose. I'm working on getting the one under there. And honestly, guys, once we get that one under there, it's gonna be downhill. That's the hardest one to get a actual socket on. So the other one's easy to get. We just got to loosen up the manifold for a second, lift it up just barely, get the socket on it, twist it off, it's done. So we got a sensor there we're going to take off, and we'll come back whenever we're getting towards that point. Okay guys, so we have this bolt, which is the lower bolt, this one, which is the upper bolt. We have all the intake nuts and the bolt out, and that is the nut. See if you can see it on the camera. There's a nut under there that we're trying to get to. When we pull the manifold, you'll be able to see it. It's right under these wires there. So I'm gonna lift the manifold up now that it's loose, like that. And that should give us all the room we need to get that bolt. So come back when I have that off. What the underside of your oil filter housing looks like. We go back and show you the bolts and everything, but you can see right there where it's failed, where the oil seeping past it, where it gets fatter. We're going to go ahead and take care of that, fix that. And I'm also going to change the oil cooler gasket while it's off. So let's go back to the car. I'll show you what was required. So actually, let's come back with some light. Okay, so this hose was required to come off, called the Mickey Mouse hose. It actually runs through the oil filter housing just like that. That was able, so I could get a ratchet on it. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if there's an E-style box head or something, but it was just easier to go ahead and remove that while I was here. Now, unfortunately, that did break. That is what I was afraid of after doing 3 of these. Those suck. So I'm gonna go ahead and order a metal one and see what I can do to fix that. While it's on its way. The oil filter housing leaks from behind onto your high pressure fuel pump, and it leaks up front. So we're gonna go power wash all that. I've been spraying brake clean on this to fix that. This is part of that Mickey Mouse hose that breaks. That's so annoying. And changing that hose is a serious pain in the ass. Drop the belly pan, all 8,000 of those bolts, and then you have to maneuver and twist around the water pump thermostat. That sucks. So we're gonna do everything we can to get that metal attachment for that, get that fixed. As you can see, the manifold just comes up, just right out of the way. This is the bolt right here that the manifold is keeping you from getting. I was mistaken, it's not that bolt. You don't need to take that one off. So we're gonna go out here, we're gonna disassemble the oil filter housing, take the cooler off, put the new cooler gasket on, and put the new oil filter housing gasket on. So we'll be back soon. What brake clean can do. We got this off, we're gonna continue to clean it. We got the gaskets out over there. Again, you can see where they failed. You see where it's nice and fat now, and it spilled oil spill over. You can see how the old new one is. It's not like that. So we're gonna finish cleaning this up, and we're gonna get it back on the car and do the reverse order for assembly. All right, guys, we have the oil filter housing back on, put the gaskets on, tightened up the bolts. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and tighten up the oil cooler bolts. Since I don't have a bench, I don't really have anything to hold it down. So now that it's bolted down, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten those bolts up. We're gonna get the intake manifold back in place and start reassembly. We also need to get the, we also have the gasket baker on there in addition to the gaskets. Good in there. We cleaned both surfaces. We brake cleaned the shit out of both of them, so that's good. So we're gonna start reassembly here.
Alright guys, we got everything tightened back up. We got the intake manifold back on. We got these two sensors plugged back in. We got the hose, coolant hoses, that one and that one back in. We got the oil cooler hoses back on. The gaskets are in. The DCIs are back on. So really at this point, we're going to put in a new oil filter. We're going to put it on the car, and then we're going to start the car and check our work for leaks. So let's go ahead and do that.
Well, guys, again, hope that video was helpful for you. Just like I said, kind of a high-level overview, not necessarily walking through every little bitty step, but just trying to show you what's required, what's needed, and going forward. Couple of suggestions, just from my experience doing this a couple of times. Some of this will be repeat, but some of it's not. Number one, OEM gaskets. Number two, order you some new bolts, especially if this has been done on your car before, and especially if their bolts are a little stripped or rounded off. Order some new bolts. Number three, order yourself a new metal hose ending for your coolant hose. 9 times out of 10 it's going to fall apart, and if it doesn't fall apart, it's going to fall apart. It's literally 14-15 bucks, get you a new metal attachment. It's going to be so much easier for you going forward. Last but not least, guys, just take your time, don't break anything, costing you some more money, and just basically once you get that oil filter housing, the gasket back in, everything tightened up, you're good to go. You should be able to enjoy your N54 without any more oil leaks. So guys, that's about it, all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and definitely stay tuned. Hit that bell notification. We have some more content coming really soon. Take care.